Imagine a war that lasts for 100 years. A conflict so vast it shatters old empires, forges new nations, and completely redraws the map of an entire continent. Now, what if I told you this monumental struggle, one of the most consequential in history, is almost completely unknown to most people today? This isn't the 100 Years' War between England and France. This is the story of the Great Turkish War, a century-long clash of civilizations that defined the future of Europe. It all begins in the mid-17th century. The Ottoman Empire, a colossal power stretching from North Africa to the gates of Vienna, is at its zenith. For centuries it has been the dominant force in the East, a seemingly unstoppable tide. In the West, the Holy Roman Empire, a patchwork of German states led by the Habsburg dynasty, stands as a bulwark against Ottoman expansion. For generations, these two giants have been locked in a tense, simmering standoff along a volatile border that runs through the heart of Hungary. But in 1683, that fragile peace shatters. The Ottoman Sultan, Mehmed IV, fueled by ambition and urged on by his Grand Vizier, Kara Mustafa Pasha, decides the time is right to strike a decisive blow. His target? The grand prize itself, Vienna, the magnificent capital of the Habsburgs. An army of staggering size, perhaps over 150,000 strong, marches from the east. It's one of the largest military forces the world has ever seen. Their goal is not just conquest, it's to break the back of Christian Europe once and for all. As the Ottoman horde approaches, terror grips Vienna. The city is fortified, but its garrison is small, numbering only around 15,000 soldiers. Emperor Leopold I flees the city, and the situation looks utterly hopeless. The Ottomans lay siege, their massive cannons pounding the city walls day and night. Their sappers dig tunnels, planting mines to breach the defenses. For 2 long months the Viennese hold on, their supplies dwindling, their hope fading with each explosion. It seems only a matter of time before the city falls, and with it, the gateway to Central Europe would be flung wide open. But then, a miracle. From over the Kahlenberg Hills, an unexpected sight appears. It's a massive relief army, a coalition of forces from across the Holy Roman Empire, and crucially, the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. Leading them is the warrior king of Poland, John III Sobieski. He had made a pact to defend Christendom, and he intended to keep it. What followed was one of the largest and most decisive cavalry charges in history. Tens of thousands of horsemen, including the legendary Polish winged hussars, thunder down the hillside and smash into the Ottoman lines. The shock is total. The Ottoman army, overconfident and caught between the city's defenders and the relief force, collapses into chaos. The siege is broken. Kara Mustafa Pasha, the Grand Vizier, pays for the failure with his life, strangled with a silk cord on the Sultan's orders. But the victory at Vienna is more than just a single battle. It's a turning point. For the first time in centuries, the momentum has shifted. The Ottomans are no longer the invincible aggressors, they are on the defensive. Inspired by this stunning victory, the powers of Europe see an opportunity. The Pope brokers a new Holy League, a grand alliance composed of the Holy Roman Empire, the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, and the Republic of Venice, later joined by Tsarist Russia. Their shared goal is simple: to drive the Ottomans out of Europe for good. This is the official start of the Great Turkish War. It won't be a short, clean conflict. It will be a grueling, continent-spanning struggle fought on multiple fronts for years to come. The war's main theatre is Hungary, which had been divided for over 150 years. The Habsburgs launch a series of brilliant campaigns, led by commanders like Charles of Lorraine and Louis of Baden. They methodically recapture fortress after fortress. The great city of Buda, the ancient capital of Hungary, held by the Ottomans for nearly 150 years, is retaken after a brutal siege in 1686. This victory is hugely symbolic, a clear sign that the tide has truly turned. Meanwhile, the Venetians open a second front in the south, attacking Ottoman holdings in Greece. They conquer the Peloponnese Peninsula, known as the Morea, and even briefly lay siege to Athens. It's during this siege that a Venetian cannonball tragically strikes the Parthenon, which the Ottomans were using as a powder magazine, causing the massive explosion that left the ancient temple in the ruined state we see today. To the north, Poland-Lithuania fights its own campaigns in Moldavia, trying to secure its southern border. And in the northeast, a rising power, Tsarist Russia under the young Peter the Great, joins the fray. Peter sees the war as a chance to achieve Russia's long-held dream, securing a warm water port on the Black Sea. His Azov campaigns are a brutal learning experience, but they mark Russia's emergence as a major player on the European stage. The war drags on for 16 long years. Battles are fought in the plains of Hungary, the mountains of the Balkans, and the waters of the Mediterranean. Both sides suffer immense casualties, not just from combat, but from disease and starvation. The land is devastated, but the Holy League, despite its internal rivalries, maintains a relentless pressure. The Ottoman Empire, fighting on 4 fronts against a technologically and tactically evolving enemy, is bleeding men, money, and territory. Finally, in 1699, exhausted and defeated, the Ottoman Empire is forced to the negotiating table. The result is the Treaty of Karlowitz. This isn't just a peace treaty, it's a revolutionary moment. For the first time, the Ottomans formally surrender territory to a victorious Christian alliance. The terms are devastating. The Habsburgs gain control of almost all of Hungary, Transylvania, and Croatia. Venice solidifies its hold on the Greek coastline. Poland regains lost territories. The map of southeastern Europe is completely redrawn. The Ottoman Empire's centuries-long advance into Europe is not just halted, it's decisively reversed. From this point forward, the empire enters a long period of decline, becoming known as the sick man of Europe. The Habsburg Empire, on the other hand, is transformed. By absorbing the vast territories of Hungary, it cements its status as a true great power, a sprawling, multi-ethnic empire that will dominate Central Europe for the next 200 years. But the story doesn't end there. The Treaty of Karlowitz was just a pause. The conflict flared up again and again over the next century. There were new wars, new treaties, and new shifts in power. Russia, under Peter the Great and later Catherine the Great, continued to push south, chipping away at Ottoman lands around the Black Sea and in the Caucasus. The Habsburgs fought more wars to consolidate their Balkan frontier. This wasn't one single war, but a series of interconnected conflicts, a long, grinding process of territorial exchange that lasted roughly from 1683 to 1792. A 100-year war in all but name. By the end of this century-long struggle, the world was a different place. The Ottoman Empire was a shadow of its former self, its European territories drastically reduced. The Habsburg monarchy had become the Austrian Empire, a dominant force in the heart of the continent. And Russia had risen to become a formidable European power, fulfilling its ambition of reaching the Black Sea. This great conflict set the stage for the modern world. It created the borders and power dynamics that would define Europe for centuries. The decline of the Ottoman Empire created a power vacuum in the Balkans, the infamous Eastern Question, that would lead to nationalist uprisings, instability, and ultimately contribute to the outbreak of World War I. The rise of Austria and Russia created the great power rivalries that dominated the 19th and 20th centuries. So why is this 100-year war so often overlooked? Perhaps because it's complex, a sprawling saga with multiple fronts and a shifting cast of characters. It doesn't have a simple, catchy name like the 100 Years' War, but its impact was arguably even greater. It was the final, decisive chapter in a struggle that had lasted for 1,000 years, the clash between the Christian West and the Islamic East. And its outcome shaped the continent we live in today. It's a forgotten epic, a story of empires rising and falling, of legendary heroes and devastating defeats, a century of conflict that truly redrew the world. It's these lesser-known, complex stories that often hold the biggest lessons about how our world came to be. If you found this journey into the past as fascinating as I did, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into history. Let me know in the comments what other forgotten conflicts you'd like to see covered. See you next time.